Hi, and welcome to Positive Parenting. My name is Irene Atia, and today we're going to talk about some more parenting techniques and tools. Today we're going to talk about how we teach our children. And the most effective way of teaching our children is not by lecturing them or talking to them or explaining things to them in detail. It's by leading by example. Do as I do, not as I say. It's really important that we understand that children absorb and learn a lot more about life and a lot more about behaviors and about how to manage their emotions from what we do and how we manage our own emotions and how we express ourselves, much more than what we tell them to do. So today we're going to talk about how we set a good example and the types of ways that we can teach our children without necessarily lecturing at them or prescribing to them how they should behave. Well, setting a good example is really quite simple. If I'm expecting my child not to yell at me when I'm angry, then I can't be yelling at him when I'm angry. Parents often ask me about one particular topic, and it often raises many questions and many debates. And it's a very logical topic, but it's one that we need to look at from the point of view of a child. Other than the emotional and the psychological damage that's caused by physically hurting a child, there's another element, and that is the element of logic. If I'm going to tell my child not to hurt another person when they're angry, how is it that I can hurt them when I'm angry or frustrated? The logic just doesn't sit. So if my child misbehaves and my response is to inflict physical harm, and then the very next day their sibling frustrates them and they hit their sibling or they hit someone on the playground, and my instinctive reaction is, well, you can't do that, that's wrong, that's unacceptable, and I punish them for doing that, that defies logic. Because I've just taught them that when I'm angry or when I'm frustrated or when someone has wronged me, particularly them, I have the right to hurt them physically. So if I want my children not to hit others, a good place to start is probably not to physically punish them as well. It's much better to use logical consequences and reasonable, natural responses to behaviours that need management. Because in that situation where my child may hurt another child, I can refer them back to myself. I can say, well, do mum or dad hit you or hurt anyone else? And if the answer is no, then it's a very logical conversation about the fact that why this is something that's unacceptable. And we can then have a conversation about healthy ways of managing our anger and healthy ways of expressing our frustration. So modelling good behaviours is particularly important to children because, again, it's not what we say that counts, it's what we do. There's also another part of teaching children that comes under this heading of leading by example, and that is called incidental teaching. Incidental teaching is a way that we teach kids new skills, and it also develops their language abilities and their ability to communicate and relate to the world. And it's quite simple. It's about looking for opportunities that happen in our natural day-to-day life to help them see and process things in a separate way than the way that they may have in the past. It's looking for opportunities to teach them empathy, to teach them about caring for others or caring for nature. And it comes in simple and effective ways where it's just part of our life. So for example, if we're taking a drive in a natural part of the world and we speak about nature and we speak about what they see and we ask them to engage with us in conversation, that can be an opportunity to teach them. Or if we actually involve them in our day-to-day activities, so bringing them into the kitchen and helping us cook, or taking them to the workshop to make something or the garage, involving them in our world so that they can see how we see things and how we interact with others. Sometimes children think that their childhood is all there is, and they need time with adults and time with us to see that there is life beyond that, that they can learn from us how to process their feelings, how to have discussions, how to even argue simple points of view. So it's important for us to have, even, dare I say, arguments with our children, to ask them about their opinions on controversial topics, especially as they grow older and approach late primary and early high school and those teenage years, where they have distinct views and distinct opinions. It's really important that we have robust discussions with them, that we talk them through subjects that are difficult and hard to address, and we hear their point of view. Because by doing that, we teach them the art of conversation. And we also teach them how to use their mind and their logic and their spiritual life to guide them into their decision-making process. It can't just be that this is my view and this is what I think and this is what you have to do. It needs to be a discussion. It needs to be a conversation. It needs to involve the child. The more that we do that, the more that we model the kind of behaviours that our child needs to exhibit, the more likely that they'll learn from us, the more likely that they will find themselves in situations where they have seen us and exhibit those same behaviours. But if I am exhibiting negative behaviours, then it's not really up to my child to learn the positive behaviours, because if they're not learning it from me, then they really don't have many other sources to learn those positive behaviours. And so one of the healthiest and most constructive ways to teach our children positive behaviours is to lead by example, to show them that when we're angry, we can manage our emotions, that when we're frustrated, we can have discussions, when we have different views to others, that we can negotiate and come to an agreement, that as a family, we are open and honest with one another. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next time.